What's up, YouTube family? My name is Shaka and this is African-American-Made. Today I'm hanging with Miss Kareema Wilsom, an herbalist and owner of Lioness Roots. And the earthy Mrs. Kareema has invited me to her shop to teach me a little about the business of herbal remedies, how she helps her customers discover a naturopathic and holistic alternative, and what motivated her to start her herbal remedy business. I'm delighted to take this holistic journey with Miss Kareema. So get ready for a healthy dose of Lioness Roots. Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so glad to learn all about the world of herbal remedies.
That's why I like to call it herbal remedies.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So won't you tell the audience, tell us your name and where you come from and a little bit about your business.
Okay. So my name is Kareema Wilson, and the name of my company is lionessroots.com. And I'm from Buffalo, New York. I've been out here in Phoenix, Arizona for about 8 years now. And I've had my own, I went to the University of Buffalo, and I went to school for photography and architecture. And I came out here to do a little different, you know, get out of the corporate world, and it's more laid back here, West Coast. So I finally got into herbalism because I had my own health journeys and I wanted to try something new. And I started to relieve a lot of my own symptoms and issues that I was having. And then I had family members and friends who were coming to me who had issues, and the herbs and things that I would come up for them, the compounds that would make up, or just straight herbs, whether it be sea moss or damiana, hydrangea root, you know, it was working. In 2018, and I used to just be mobile. I had my little tote, and I would just go around in the break rooms or take it over to my girlfriend's house, and I would you know, distribute herbs and things that way. And then I finally decided to get my own website in 2021. So I've been doing that, and it's a little more stable. And I've been building more clientele with the website. Finally critiqued it enough, and I've gotten it to where I like it and it's understandable. So I kind of like to go visit.
Tell me a little bit about what it takes to become an herbalist. I mean, is there any kind of certification required or any kind of study recommended? Well, I'm sure you have to study the herbs that you mix, but
kind of did my own research and study on it.
Oh, that's word.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you follow Dr. Sebi a little bit, like his practices and his remedies.
Yeah,
his methodology behind how to use herbs and what have you.
And the different ones then compared to like the hybrid ones that are now. And I liked how he went back to things that were the original herbs, the original things that are here, not things that have been genetically altered or made up throughout the years. So that's why I kind of appealed to what he was saying, and just his own health journey. And you know, the court case in the 80s, everyone's heard of that, at least I have.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, and different relatives that I've grown up who have either followed him or Dick Gregory.
Yeah, definitely. Dick Gregory did that whole. He was very serious about
being healthy.
Yeah, health remedies and diets and things like that, not eating certain foods and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you came from Buffalo and you moved here. Did you see a big difference between the type of herbs you were able to get, like on the East Coast versus here in the Southwest?
Well, actually, I didn't even know about all this stuff. There were like herb shops here. We don't have that back home in Buffalo. Like I redid my own research, but I was surprised to see that I can actually physically go into a store, a mom and pop, and buy the herbs instead of just finding everything online. You know, you have to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that back home. I like that. There's a few different options. Of course, I have my own wholesale options now, you know, now that I'm up and running. But in the beginning, yeah, it was nice to be able to have that option, and they don't really have that back home. So another reason why I started this is to help a lot of my people back home, to give reasonable price. It's kind of high out here. And, but I mean, if it works, it works. But I wanted it to work, but at a more reasonable price.
That's so we definitely need a break on the prices these days, because everything.
Even so, and I haven't raised my prices with the inflation and all that. It's still the same. But because I'm not trying to knock you over the head with it, I just want people to get introduced and know that there's other options. You know.
Yeah.
Not saying my way is right. I know what works for me and my body, and I know what has worked for my friends and family. You know, it's not for everybody. And then there's different herbs that do the same thing, but one herb might work better versus the other. So I do have a bigger catalog now because of that. I've had people that, okay, well, the Damiana wasn't working for me. What else could I, there's different options.
So all of the herbs that are used in the whole family of herbs that herbalists use, they're all categorized and set up under certain ailments or things that they address with the human body or different things?
There's different ways. It's the application of it. Whether you're making it into a tea versus a capsule, or if you're doing a tincture, or if you're actually using it topically. So like Damiana, I use that also. It's a good herb for like building up your libido. Or you're having low sex drive.
What's the name of that again?
Damiana. Damiana, it's right here. It's very popular, good sale.
Get that Damiana when I walk out of here.
But it's very good, and a lot of people come to it for female and female. Both partners can take it, and it helps with your energy. It helps with your sperm count. It helps with our eggs. So it's good. But then you can also use it topically. And I also put that's one of my herbs that I have in my Herbal, my Remedy root balm. I have about like 11 different herbs in that, and that's one of them. So there's different applications for it, the herbs. There's capsules, there's teas, there's tinctures.
What's that?
Tinctures is when you take the herbs and you basically, I'll get like a big mason jar or jar like this, and I'll, and put this is powdered form, but I'll take like the loose teas or the herb, and you let it sit in alcohol and let the herb steep out that way. And that's a longer process. Those tinctures take a little longer to make. They can take months. Sometimes they have to sit for months to actually, seep all the goodness out of it. And you can do that with one herb, just making like a tincture of just rosemary, or like I have another one where it's a combination of rose petals, lavender.
So the three biggest would be capsules, bombs.
Bombs or oils, and teas, basically, yeah.
Okay,
teas.
Cool. What is the most popular?
Well, everybody's heard of sea moss.
Sea moss.
Sea moss is the most popular thing right now. And they say Sadie started it, but, it's very popular. But I've come to learn, and even I've had the opinion, even if Dr. Sadie was still alive, he still will be learning about the different processes and eliminating the good and the bad practices. But so everybody jump on the bandwagon of sea moss in Jamaica. I actually get my sea moss, it's Irish sea moss. It comes from Ireland. Okay,
but now before we go that deep into that, tell us what sea moss is and what is it popularly used for?
So it's the actual moss that comes from the sea.
Okay.
It's a seaweed.
Okay, great.
Deep seaweed. It's the kind that grows in Ireland. It's grown kind of further deep, but it helps with inflammation. It helps a lot with your thyroid, weight loss. Helps maintain your weight. And then of course everybody goes to the mineral count. So they always say our body has like 120 minerals. The sea moss alone has like 90. That's a good thing too. It has a lot of minerals. You can take it every day.
It has a lot of minerals that our bodies
naturally have.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's giving you but it has a lot of the minerals that our body already has.
Gotcha.
So it replenishes that. It's great for energy. I have one client, if she's feeling sluggish, she takes that, and it's good. It's like you can't overdose on it. I obviously don't take 50 in a day.
Right.
But it's very good, and it doesn't shock the body. It's that natural energy. It's not that energy where you're gonna feel yourself crashing and coming down from it. It's that natural energy. It gives you that natural boost. But it's very healing, and a lot of people like the gel. I don't like the taste of it. But you can also make it into a gel and put it in your smoothies. A lot of people do that. A lot of people are jumping on that, and they have the different flavors now.
Okay.
But I like the capsule form, but
Now,
gel might be an option in.
how is it sold? I mean, how is it sold to the producer?
So that you can actually most of the times it's the actual seaweed dried up. They get it out of the ocean. They rinse it off and wash it off with water and let it sit out in the sun and air dry, and then it's grounded up into powder form.
Powder.
Like I used to buy it from Jamaica, and I would get it in the raw form, and then I would break it down into powder form myself. I've realized now that the cold water, the Irish moss from Ireland is better and it's more potent. So now I get that from a supplier, but I get it already in powder form, so I don't have to worry about breaking it down.
So it's something about the climate of it being from a colder
climate
from
makes it
a
a little better. I've come to with research and things that I've been hearing, not that you believe everything, but what I've come to realize is that yellow sea moss that comes from Jamaica, in my research, when it's starting to turn yellow, it's decaying. So the Irish sea moss, when you get it, it's more like a brown purple, and that's the more potent. And I just believe that the cold water is better for your health anyway. That cold water moss and the nutrients from the cold water is a little better than the stuff versed in Jamaica. Not to say that, I mean, the stuff that we get from Jamaica, it has its own benefits, but I feel like the stuff from the cold water, Ireland, is a little more.
It's better quality.
It's better quality.
Gotcha. What are some of the other major biggies in the herbal world?
Hydrangea root is another good one that I like, and that is very good for calcification of the body. So fibroids is the calcification in the uterus. So that helps break that up, and it helps in a way because obviously we can't get into those certain parts, but the herbs get in there and they start to break up that calcification. It's also good for people who have prostate issues. I have clients that have prostate issues, and that's one of the main ingredients in my prostate remedy that I have.
Okay, great. So we have sea moss and agrangas.
Hydrangeas.
I'm gonna have trouble with these.
The really pretty flower with all of that blooms up really nice. Hydrangeas.
Yeah, I'll have to find some images.
Oh yeah, I got some. I gotcha. Yeah, burdock root is also a really good one. That is just overall for your health. It's very good for diabetes, to help with the diabetic symptoms that people have. It's just an overall good time, and it's one of those that I can mix with a lot of other herbs. A lot of herbs, you have to be careful that they will counteract with each other. So you don't want to. A lot of stuff can't be mixed together, but I use burdock root as a base for a lot of my other stuff. Like I can add that with the Damiana, I can add that with the valerian.
So, is there any herbs that have a level of toxicity?
Yeah. So like this chlorella is very good. It's an algae, and it helps with like radiation. Like we're combated with, we don't even know how much radiation we get shot with just driving in our car. That helps really good. You can't take a lot of it because it has the same kind of like detox effects like when you're going through heroin. Like it's that jittery. It's not as extreme as heroin withdrawal, but because it's detoxing it also is good at detoxing heavy metals and all the chemicals that are in the air and the atmosphere out of our body. So because of that, it kind of gives you that jittery effect if you take too much of it. So myself, I only take it like 2 or 3 times a week. And I make sure I do it in the morning because you're gonna get a jolt of energy. So don't take it at night thinking you're gonna be sleeping all that stuff out of your body at night. There are some herbs I like to take at night and let them work while you're sleeping, but that's definitely not one of them. And you don't want to take too much of it either. But
and is that in milligrams?
Yeah.
Dosage?
Yeah. Okay. So I would just take one of those because this is, I believe, 600 milligrams. So yeah, you just want to take one of them. You don't need to take two, pop two at a time, just one in the morning, you know. And I always suggest that anytime you're starting any of my capsules or anything, start off with one. You know, watch how your body reacts to it. It's not going to be, most of the time, it's not going to be a crazy reaction. But just look out for if you're going to get any rashes or if you feel lightheaded, anything like that. But always start off with one and just drink plenty of water. I try to drink a gallon of water a day, if you can. And that just helps in general, flushing you out, period. But it just helps the herbs do what it needs to do, too.
Are there any herbs, be it as an ingredient or used as a primary dose, habit forming?
No, and like valerian. So everybody talks about melatonin. Well, to take melatonin to help you sleep at night.
Yeah.
No. That stuff is habit forming. I was taking it. Now, before I got into all this, I was crazy. I was taking vitamins and supplements, and I was taking melatonin like crazy because I've always had trouble sleeping. And I didn't realize melatonin, I would do a lot of like day sleeping and I'd be like depressed. But I'm just thinking, no, because I'm not sleeping at night, I'm doing a little more day sleeping. But no, it makes you day sleep and it gives you depression. Because our body naturally has melatonin, and it starts to release at a certain time of the day. Towards the afternoon, it starts to release so that we can kind of wind down and get ready for the evening. So I like valerian root because you can take that and it's not habit forming, and I can take it and I don't have that groggy feeling in the morning. Like I could just get up like I need to, and it's not like melatonin where you're kind of like struggling, like nah, you still want to be asleep because your body's like, why am I still have so much melatonin in my body when it shouldn't be there? I don't recommend it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people talked about the even like I said myself, I was taking a lot of it, too much, and then this I could take one of those and that's what I think I love about the herbs. They kick in quick.
What you think about the discourse between the herbal community and the scientific community about some of these herbs may perhaps not really doing what either people who use them or people who promote them allege that they do or attest that they do?
I don't know. I put it this way. I feel like all these herbs and stuff were around for our ancestors. If they didn't work for them, we wouldn't be here.
And they're in medicine.
Exactly.
I mean, they're
synthesized, but they're synthesizing nature. So it's like, why synthesize it? Why pollute it? Just take the natural, straight stuff.
Well, it's competition too, right?
That is too, yeah. So I get it, but I just care about where it's coming from. I like to get wild crafted or organic herbs if I can, and more wild crafted. And you have to be careful with the wild crafted because of the environment and how everything is changing with pollution.
Now, can you explain to the listeners and the viewers what that means?
So wild crafted is like, for example, like hydrangeas. So as first as like stuff that's grown in a lab, someone will actually go out and pick them.
Okay.
And go pick them, dry them out, and to go through the process naturally like that.
Okay.
So, and then organic, obviously, organic, non-GMO, and no crazy pesticide.
So a lot of these herbs obviously are used in many different products across, I mean, you name it, right? How is the chain from harvester to a person like yourself that receives it either in a bulk form or and then you kind of do what you do with it, right?
Yeah. So
how's that process, that chain work?
Well, so now I have a supplier out of Canada that gets all their stuff either wild crafted or organic, and I buy in bulk. So I get it in bulk by pounds, and then I break it down and put it in, and make it up into my remedies. Like certain herbs I like to buy as powder, but then a lot of herbs I like to buy as the pure leaves and sticks and things like that, and I'll grind it down myself. Because
once you break apart certain vegetation, it starts losing
it kind of loses. The powder stuff, if it's not stored properly, It's not like it's not a crazy difference, but there is. You'll start to see even some of my herbs, they'll turn color. Like this green of my Damiana, with the older it get, it'll turn like more of a brown.
Okay.
So you'll know it'll still be good, but it won't have the highest potency as when it was first picked.
Gotcha.
So some of the stuff that like for my bombs, I rather like the pure leaf or the sticks, because the way I cook it and steep it, I like the properties to seep out from the actual leaf and stick, and get that to make my bombs actually a little more potent. And but the powder is still good, you know, for the capsules. Like I said, people like smoothies, they want to make smoothies. I've learned to, I had to evolve, because I always was, in the beginning, when I was going around, it was just capsules. And people were like, I don't like swallow, that's like a horse pill. They are in my pill, they're not little, they're, you know. But I'm like, I just gonna chug it. I know it's good for me. But they're like, I don't, because in a lot of stuff like valerian and burdock root, it's good, but it's funky. In the taste. So I'd rather
definitely have an organic.
It's funky, but it's good. You just gotta remember that as to go down. But but I rather capsules. But a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to swallow that. So that's why I came up with teas, and then I sell powders too. 2 ounce teas and 2 ounce powders. Yeah, it's very competitive. You know.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you about your journey as a business owner, African American business owner. African American woman business owner. How has your journey been, like, from conceptualizing your idea, deciding that you want to go into this, and then conceptualizing how you want to put it together, and you have your labeling together already. I mean, as I see that process, and then the marketing part, and then soliciting clients. How has that journey been for you, and what are some of the snags that you've encountered along the way, if any?
Yeah. So that's the challenge for me, is the social media, staying consistent, because it's all about the Facebook, it's all about the Instagram, and now it's the TikTok. So the videos now, it's all about promoting yourself through those media streams now. So it's been very challenging, but I'm getting on it. I'm getting on bandwagon. I'm getting more comfortable in front of the camera. You know. But it's challenging. A lot of people love it. I had to realize it's not my thing. I'd rather be cooking up the recipes, being creative in that way. Obviously, it's me. I do everything, you know, but the marketing, the labeling, but
So how did you come up with your name and the look?
So Lioness, I'm a Leo Lioness. And that was just one day when I just wrote down a bunch of like names in my journal, and I'm just like, what worse? I'm like, I am a lioness. You know I am. I know I am. And go back, and I seen this thing where it was like, never forget your roots. And that's kind of like me. I don't never forget to take my herbs. I take my herbs before I walk onto the world. So that's how I was like, Lioness Roots. And I was like, how does that sound? And it was like, that sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty dope, actually. Lioness Roots is pretty dope.
I like it.
That.
It works for me.
So what inspires you?
Creativity. I've just always been a creative person. I like to use my hands, whether it's the plants, whether it's making capsules. And I'm inspired by nature.
Thank you so much for educating me on a world that I know very little of. And I'm sure it's going to be very beneficial to people watching this video. How can we find you?
So you can find me at lionessroots.com. And if you have questions, it's info@lionessroots.com. And also, you can text me at 480-389-6008.
And don't forget the Instagram.
And Instagram and Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter.
There you go. Keep getting it all popping. All right.
All right.